Love. We love our patients.
I'm here. I just wanted to give everyone a chance to do what they were doing beforehand. That's all.
Albany can fix this injustice. Stop Medicaid underpayment and hospitals stay open. The federal government will pay half the cost. A huge savings for New York. No matter
I got wrapped up in a house episode too, so damn, I need to make cigarettes. I'm out. Anyway, not much. Just taking a break from doing some housework is all. Just did every dish in my house. They were all dirty, so not a big fan of doing dishes. There we go. Oh no. 6 cigarettes plus 2 is 8. Yeah, I got time yet. Before I gotta go out and get more tobacco, more tubes. Never ending thing. Always need more of those. Need more tubes, need more everything at times. Can you hear me, Ray? So what you been up to, Ray? Yeah, right. If something does happen, usually people say, well, the gnomes did it. Well, I've been waiting on the gnomes to do them. They never did. Just like the little bastards won't do my laundry or anything. Yeah, they don't do any of that stuff. I don't mind yard work. Believe it or not, I actually wish I had a yard to do yard work in. I used to hate it as a kid. And now I miss it. I actually look forward to one day owning my own house to complain about having to mow the yard, which I don't think would happen. Right? Yard work and hunting. But the only times a man gets to just be alone with his thoughts without someone telling him, you need to do this, you need to do that. Hey, the real Dank Williams, how are you? Well, Dank, let me tell you this. One, I've never lied to you. Two, I've never denied what I've been arrested for. However, truth of the matter is, is I was calling to find out what constitutes a lie. And well, sir, when you call me a lie, I tend to call things as I see them. Whether people like that or not, I don't care. I speak the truth. But I will say this on the whole BW issue, you were probably closer to the truth than I was. And I can admit that, you know what, maybe you said some things that were factual that at the time I didn't want to believe about someone. So, that being said, I won't say that you didn't lie, but I will say that I will have to do more investigation into it. And that I might have jumped the gun on what was going on. But if she had done what you said she did, the feds would have been all up in her ass and she would have gotten locked away. So maybe it wasn't to the extent you said, but there might have been some truth in it. And I'm looking into that now to find out if that was the case. And if so, I will publicly on YouTube here make a video apologizing. Fair enough? Welcome back, Ray. Yeah, I hate it when I lose signal. But to be fair, Dank, you've lied about me. More times than not, you've lied about me. I'm an open book. You want to know something about me? You come ask me. And on that same note, if I want to know something about you, I'll go ask you. Is that fair enough? Executing a search warrant means that they had probable cause. Doesn't mean they had evidence, just means that they had heard enough shit to give them probable cause to get a warrant. See, to get a warrant, you need reasonable, articulable suspicion of a crime. That's all you need to get a warrant. If she had done what you claim she had done, that would have put her away in prison for a very long time. She wouldn't have been out at all. She'd still be doing time. So, no, that's not enough evidence. Had she been arrested, tried, and convicted, that's enough evidence. But I'm looking into it now because me and her recently had a falling out, as I'm sure you've probably heard on these YouTube streets. And she's been running her mouth about me, calling me a liar, saying I'm stolen valor when I'm not, and everything. So now I'm looking at everything that anyone's ever said about her that I defended or went against. I'm looking at it with a open mind now. I never casted a spell on you, dude. I never casted a spell on you. If I did, I guarantee my spells would have worked. But I don't do that anymore. I do it a lot less, but I don't do it anymore. And I wasn't simping for her. I was giving someone the benefit of the doubt. I was looking at the evidence that I had in front of me at the time, which was not adding up with what you were saying, and thus making a judgment call. And yes, I guess some people would say I'm a bit naive. I tend to give people the benefit of the doubt until they prove to me that I can't. No. Nope. 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 Dang. No. I wasn't believing her because she had tits. I was believing her due to your own actions when dealing with her and a lot of other people's history with with that person, with you. You see, history, if you look at it and you don't forget it, can damn near tell you what the future is going to hold. Because the same patterns in history will always be repeated. Case in point, the Nazi Party, when they came to power, they had the brown shirts that would go around the colleges, get kids who didn't know any better riled up against the Jewish people in that particular case. And what happened? A lot of people died. What happened? 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020. The Democrat Party had riled up a group of people called Antifa and BLM, and they went around to colleges to get people silenced, to get people canceled, because they were thinking wrongly, according to Antifa and the Democrat Party. They were just trying to voice their opinions. And to this day, they still, through Antifa, are trying to shut people down. Well, dang, when you get 50 different YouTube channels going, you can't run them all at once. Thus, it takes a team. Therefore, logically speaking, you do team up. Sorry, but when you look at things in a logical manner, you see what's really going on. No way we can. We can. Through the old Norse religions, through the old Celtic religion, through a lot of different religions, spells can be cast by white people. Some of the strongest witches and warlocks I've ever met in my life were white people. It's just what it is. So, he does a lot of different content. Believe it or not, I used to sub to Dank years ago. Under my old channel, I subbed to him. Because it's not my job to show proof. So I won't. Everyone who knows me personally knows I was in the military. Whether or not other people want to believe me, I don't give a rat's ass. The people who know me know I was in. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to go to the VA for my health care and my mental health care. Yeah, it does take a little bit of getting used to, you Dank. I will admit that. The first couple of videos I watched were like, what the hell? This guy's all over the place. What's going on here? But yeah, you're an acquired taste, just like I'm an acquired taste, just like anybody on YouTube is an acquired taste, unless they only make review content about music or movies, or they only show their animals. Then everybody likes it. I'm not sure how to do that, Dick. Otherwise, I would. If I knew how to drop the link, Dank, I would, but I'm on my phone and I haven't figured that part out yet. Kind of just getting back into the whole content creating and everything. Still running for president again, though. Still running for president once again. I didn't win in 16, but you know what? That's life. Truth be told, I don't think I'm going to win this time, but you know what? Again, that's life. As long as I can get the message out there that we need to start taking care of our country and those who served it and our homeless and our kids, I'll be all right with that. But I haven't seen you on any of my channels in a while, Dank. That's pretty cool. Last time I saw you on my channel, I was living up the street from where I am now, and that was 2016, 17-ish. Yeah, it's the best way to do it. To judge anybody is to watch their content for yourself. If they're for you, then go with it. If they're not, well, at least now you know. It's kind of like eating something you've never had before. I was raised up very poor. My mom always told me if someone offers you food, even if you don't know what it is, if you've never had it before, take a small little portion of it. It's called a no thank you portion, and at least try it. That way, you learn something new. If you like it, you like it. If you don't like it, hey, no big deal. You don't fucking like it. That's life. You move on. Because I ran last time and it actually helped him. I ran in 2016 and he won. Now, me and Trump say pretty much the same thing. He's just a little more eloquent, has a lot more patience than I do. So you get two people running. One of them's not on the ticket because he doesn't have the funds to get on the ticket. So I'd have to be a write-in candidate. And you get someone who is on the ticket and they're saying the same thing. Well, people be like, well, he's saying the same thing as the guy I was going to vote for, and I don't have to write it in, so let me circle him in. Yeah, yeah, I was taking people at their word about that because I take elections seriously, and I figured so did everyone else. But turns out now that don't think they were taking it as seriously as I do. I take it very seriously, whether I am running or I'm just voting. I take it extremely seriously because those are the people that are going to be in power for the next 2 to 4 years. And well, I'll be damned if I want to not take it seriously. No, I don't think it was off by that much, Dank. I don't think it was off by that much. So I might have gotten quite a few. I'm not sure on the exact number. I'm still checking numbers for Schoharie County and New York State, and then I'll extrapolate for the whole country, and that'll give me a pretty good idea as to the exact number of people who voted for me. Well, I don't consider myself a right wing conservative. I've always considered myself an independent voter because I like to look at both sides of what's being said, and then I'll look at the person's track history, what they've done in life, or in the case of Biden, in their public office, and see if what he said matched up to what they did. And if it doesn't, well, then I don't vote for him. It's that simple. Because, well, let's be honest, people who say one thing and do another, I don't need them in my life. And if I can't trust you to be in my life, I can't trust you to run my country. That's how I look at it. Unfortunately, Ray, that's what's happening with a lot of people. Because people are tired of the idea that America's bad. We're not bad. We're the best country in the world. That's why everybody tries to immigrate to us. No, not 10 hours. It depends on the number you start from. If you start from number one, it will take exactly 47 minutes. Well, you see, first of all, the U.S. isn't a democracy. True democracy means mob rule, but we have the Electoral College. What that means is that every vote in America gets counted, and then it goes to the Electoral College to be ratified. And if it's ratified, then whoever comes out in the lead is the winner. Now, Ray, that happened once before in our history. It was who was it? Oh, Lincoln. Lincoln's first term in office, he had a Republican vice president. His second term in office, he had a Democrat president, which, yeah, it forced the parties to have to work together for the benefit of the nation. Well, you know, nothing's free. And without the doctors and all that being incentivized through monetary gain to come up with new drugs, we wouldn't have half the drugs that we have that help prolong life and everything. Count to 450,000. I got bored one day and timed myself. So I was bored one day and just did it, just to see how long it would take because I was curious. But dang, how did you come across my new channel? I'm just curious. Actually, there's more than 4 points to the first part of the Constitution. There's five: trust, religion, assembly redress of grievances to our government, which a lot of people think falls under the freedom of speech, but it's actually a separate thing, and the right to assembly. Those are the points of the First Amendment. The Second Amendment states the right to keep a bear arms shall not be infringed upon, being needed for a duly formed and trained militia. Well, Ray, that would take a while. It would take 47 minutes, and honestly, I don't know if I'm going to be live for 47 minutes. You forgot, you said it, religion, assembly, petition, expression. You forgot one, press. You see, when our country was formed, the press was meant to be the unofficial watchdogs of the government, kind of a fourth branch of government. They were meant to try and keep our leaders accountable and transparent. However, that has not been the case in a very, very, very long time. Yeah, it just means that you have the right to redress any grievances. In other words, you can say, listen, I don't think this person is doing the job properly, and petition to have them removed from office. Of course, if you don't think that they're truly doing the job, you as the employer can fire them, in a manner of speaking, by not voting for them, by voting for someone who would better do their job. Yeah, it can. We can redress our government at any time, especially every 2 to 4 years. See, there's 5 of them. I wasn't sure about a couple of them, so about April of this year, I went back and I reread it in its entirety, and I'm still reading it to be sure. But I went back and I went over the first 10 amendments to the Bill of Rights. Dank, I have a question for you. How many presidents did we have before George Washington? Because if you look at George Washington's presidential dates, we had to have presidents before George Washington became the president as we know it today. Depends on how fast you count. And in what language. It wasn't always in the Texas safe deposit box at the First Bank of Texas. And for years, I traveled between Texas and New York. Every time it got cold, I went to Texas. Every time it got warm, I came to New York. They have a VA in Temple, Texas, where I'm from. So it'd be nothing for me to grab the ID out of the safe deposit box and go. No, they were presidents. There was 3 of them. The first one was called the President of the Continental States of America. Same with the second and the third. Yep, it wasn't until George Washington that he was called the President of the States of America. It wasn't United States of America. People didn't start saying the United States of America until after the Civil War. They would say the States of America are united against whatever cause. But it wasn't until after the Civil War that people started saying the United States of America. No way, he wasn't. President George Washington did not take office until a lot later, like 10 years later. Our first president actually had no power. I mean, a mayor has more power than the president did. Our second one had a little bit more power, but still had to ask Congress for any money or anything, no matter what it is he wanted to do. Our third president had a little bit more power, but still had to ask Congress if it was okay for him to do certain things, like have visiting dignitaries come to this country so they could hash out a treaty or so that they could in some way do business. No. They were voted for by the Americans. It was after the Revolutionary War. We had 3 presidents before George Washington. It's a little known bit of history that most people don't learn in school. I didn't learn it in school. I didn't learn it until 4 years ago, watching a documentary. And it piqued my interest, so I looked it up to see if it was true. But no, they were presidents of the U.S. because we didn't have any appointees by the British. We had people that were given land that had titles like lords and ladies and all that. But that was back when we were the colonies of England. So the King of England would send people he liked over here to make sure to keep us in line. Because the real reason that this country was formed was because the Pilgrims didn't like the religious persecution that was going on in England with the Church of England and everything. So they came here looking for a new place to have religious freedom. I've always considered myself a student of history. And that means I always have to keep going back and re-looking at stuff to see if what I remember is accurate. Yeah. Not recalling that name off the top of my head, Ray. Who was John Hanson? But yeah, so technically we're at our 50th president right now. Instead of Biden being the 47th, he's the 50th. That was all I was saying, is that technically we're on president number 50. But for some reason, maybe it was due to the They hadn't ironed everything out to where they could say the president in their heads or whatever, but people didn't start keeping track of presidents until Washington. That's why most people think that Washington was our first president and the father of our country, when in reality, our country had a lot more than one father. We had John Quincy Adams who signed it, we had John Hancock who signed it. Contrary to popular belief, Benjamin Franklin did not sign it. We had Thomas Jefferson who signed the Declaration of Independence. He also wrote the Bill of Rights and a lot of our Constitution. There was a lot of people who signed it that did so knowing that if they lost and this document ever came out, they would hang for treason. So they did it knowing that if they lose they could die. But to put it in the words of Thomas Jefferson, the tree of liberty needs to be refreshed from time to time by the blood of tyrants and patriots alike. Just meaning that every so often, if we want to keep our freedom, we got to be willing to spill blood for it. No, after the rebellion, Ray, after the rebellion, there were three continental presidents of the United States. There was three of them. They called instead of just saying they were the president, they called themselves the continental president or the president of the colonies. Pretty much none. Yeah, they started them out very limited power due to the fact that they didn't want one person to have so much power that they would become a dictator or a monarch. It wasn't until Washington that most of the powers that the president has now was given to the president. Which, if you think about it, is ironic because the president now has enough power, if he wanted to make himself a dictator. But that wouldn't go over too well for the majority of the country. So if they did that, excuse me, surefire way to set off another civil war. Surefire way. And that would never be good. So what you been up to besides doing yard work and shopping, right? And what have you been up to, Dink, if you're still around? I think Dank left us, right? I think he left us. Yeah, I'm kind of just watching House on mute. Well, spending time with the kid is good, always a good thing. And what's a mill house? That's my question. Because when you say mill house to me, like four different things pop to my head. And truth be told, none of them are really legal. And I hope you're not into anything illegal. Oh, okay. That's a new term for that. I hadn't heard that before. I like that. That's a cool term. If I ever get married, I'm gonna have to remember that term. Of course, truthfully, right now, I don't see me getting married anytime soon. Last person I thought I would marry, well, she went back to her ex. So, but I'll have to remember that if I ever get married. I don't know what's going on with Kim. I haven't seen her in a few days. She hasn't been live or anything. I'm thinking she might be mad at me for missing her last live, which honestly, I don't blame her. But how old is your kid? Yeah, I know how that goes. The damn thing just started acting right for me a little while ago. So, but yeah, I've been on here for a little bit and, oh, still at that cool age where they want to go hunting, they want to go fishing, they want to do stuff with dad, camp, stuff like that. If you have a little girl, wait till she hits about 13. All of a sudden, fishing, hunting, butchering a deer, butchering the fish, that's going to seem gross to her and she's going to be interested in boys. So enjoy the time now, is what I would say, because I watched my little sister grow up. Man, she was always right behind my stepdad and always right under my foot, wanting to learn how to do different stuff. If I was working on a car, she had to be right there. And then right around 13, she didn't want to go hunting, fishing anymore. She wanted to go and chase boys. But yeah, I'm gonna have to end this and get back to what I was doing. I don't want to, but pretty much almost got the kitchen cleaned up, and that is a good thing. Plus, I need to pull something out for dinner tonight, which I think I'm just gonna make a rather large meatloaf tonight. Wow, shark's teeth is cooler than arrowheads. I can make arrowheads. I can't make a shark's tooth. You find any big ones, like megalodon size big, or just like great white big? And depending on where you found them, the depth and where you found them, they could be not shark tooth. They could be a prehistoric version of a whale's tooth because sperm whales, narwhals, and a couple of other whales used to have teeth like a shark's. And it could have been a what was it? A mimosasaur tooth too. They had teeth just like a shark. Well, Ray, I'm gonna hop off because I gotta get dinner going. I'm gonna try to do another live, either later tonight or tomorrow. So if you speak to Kim, let her know, and please let her know I'm very sorry for missing her last live. Nice, nice. And the mosasaur tooth, from what I gather, is 4 to 5 inches larger, but same shape, but it's thicker. So I've never found a mag's tooth or a shark. Well, no, I found a couple of shark's teeth, but they weren't nothing. But I need to jump off here and pull something out for dinner and everything. So I'll talk to y'all later. Y'all have a good night.